What's up, everybody? Sean here with a bonus live live troll for you guys this week. Got a nice extra show, fun show, highlighting the Easterseals Film Challenge Festival again, and some of our friends made another amazing film this year, Anna. So we're gonna get into some intros and let's talk about the festival and you guys' film. So, like I said, I'm Sean. I am a C5, C6 quadriplegic from a snowboarding accident I had 22 years ago. Paul, you want to give a little introduction since you're our guest co-host as well today?
Absolutely. My name's Paul Gustin. Great to be here today with these amazing people. And another show with some cool info on some movies that were made. Like I said, my name's Paul, C56 Quad, 40 some plus years from a car crash. Yeah. How about you, Anna? I'd like to give you a chance to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you.
Hi. Yeah, so great to be with you guys again. My name is Anna Packman. I'll do a quick visual introduction. I am a white woman, shoulder length, brown curly hair that's a little messy because my hairstylist is on vacation. And I am wearing a multicolored sweater. And I roll in a mobility scooter full time because I have cerebral palsy since birth.
So, thanks, Anna. John, you want to go ahead?
Sure. Hi, guys. Thank you for having us here. My name is John Floresca. I'm a T12 spinal cord injury due to surfing. It's called surfer's myelopathy. I got injured June 2019. Thought I'd never work in the business of cinema because things are not really accessible there, but here we are doing this film, and I currently work on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart.
Awesome. Yeah, it's really cool. Still working in the industry. And then Mackenzie, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, my name is Mackenzie Gomez. My pronouns are she, they. Brief visual description: I am a medium fair skinned Mexican woman with shoulder length black curly hair. It's currently wet, and I'm wearing a gray long sleeve shirt. And I am a mobility aid user, dynamic disability. So I rotate between a cane, forearm crutches, and a manual wheelchair. I have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, POTS, Hashimoto's disease, and a bunch of other chronic illnesses that have sort of just collected over the past few years.
Interesting. Yeah, no, that's you guys all have great stories, and it's cool having so much diversity of disability within you guys' film you made this year too. That's really great to show you guys all different disabilities and all different mobility, issues, but different levels and types. So it's really cool. So yeah, you guys, we got like your quick little brief backgrounds. Do you guys want to first? We talked a little bit on Tuesday about what the Easterseals challenge is, but do you guys want to give just, I don't know who wants to take it, but if anybody guys want to take it, just kind of a brief summary of kind of what the film challenge is, and then maybe we can hear from all three of you guys when you first had started it, and I was like, so how long you been doing it?
Well, I can take it because I'll answer the second question first. I've been doing this for a while. I started participating in the film challenge in 2020. This is my seventh year. It's actually my pandemic hobby because I was not very good at baking bread and I needed something to do. And this was it. So it's been a great ride, and I've learned so much about filmmaking. I personally like never went to film school, but have always, I'm a writer. I've always wanted to see my work get made. And I discovered the Easter Seal Disability Film Challenge. It was actually started 13 years ago by an actor slash comedian out in Hollywood named Nick Novicki. Nick has a disability himself. He's a little person. And he is an actor who's been in a lot of stuff you would probably know. Among things, Boardwalk Empire is a pretty big show he did with HBO. And he started the film challenge because he thought, hey, wait a minute, there's other types of roles I want to be cast in, but people are not casting me in the types of things I want to play. So let me go out there and create my own content. And he thought to himself, like, why are other people with disabilities who want to be in this industry not doing that? And created the film platform to get more people with disabilities creating this type of content, and partnered with Easterseals, and just does such a great job in elevating everyone's work. He's partnered with a number of major Hollywood studios like Paramount, Sony. Sony actually hosts the award ceremony for the challenge every year. And really, I think it's about elevating us to show that, we can do this work. First of all, yes, like we can do this work in the binary, but also like we could just do it as well as Hollywood's doing it, but on like zero.
That's
Yeah, no, that's
crazy.
incredible. Yeah,
So
that's so
cool.
cool. The Nick starting that is just such an incredible thing, and like I feel like I always just have looked on like on the challenge from afar, but been getting really into it these last few years, and just now I really look forward to watching the films every year. But John, you wanna how long have you been doing the challenge, or is it new to you?
So it's been 2 years. My first year was with this woman, Anna Packman. She, I met her through. She went on this impossible dream catamaran that comes around to New York City, and so through them, and she was there. She promoted wheelchair money. Took a look at that. Loved the work, and it was still like trying to find myself. Working in the business and dealing with this disability. I've only been disabled for 6 years, and so it was just figuring out how to be in a wheelchair on set. And I kept thinking to myself, I still have this set of skills, and how do I pay this forward? And met Anna, and she had this idea about emergency plan, and we shot it. We were I was very happy with it, and so we were like on to the next. So we did Dark Ages, which I think we're really super proud of making this film.
And you should be. Ah,
Yeah, no, it was a great film. It was really fun to watch. It was cool. Um, and yeah, so what about you, Mackenzie? How new are you to the challenge, and have you been working with Anna before?
Yeah. So this is actually my first year like fully participating. Last year I was also an understudy for Anna, and it was cool to sort of check out somewhat behind the scenes, like how it all came together, because I had not participated in the film challenge at all yet. So that was a good experience to just see how it all came together and then not get called in, so I didn't have to actually do any of the filming. But this year I feel very honored that I was called in to perform and to show up as one of the actors. So yeah, first full year participating, and it was so much fun.
Awesome. Yeah, you did a great job too. You did really. Your character was fun. You did a really good job. So,
Thank you.
yeah, no, yeah, it was really great for your first one, and so that kind of leads me to my other question. Like that's part of this for all three of you guys. We can start with Anna. Um, what was your your film background before, or did you have one beforehand, or is this something that you've now gotten into? So Anna, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, well, like I said, it's my pandemic hobby. But it's, I joke about that. Yeah, like even though I didn't go to film school, I went to NYU undergrad, and they have a prolific film school. So I took some classes there, and I've been doing screenwriting just mainly for myself to go back and reread. And had gotten into comedy writing a couple of years before the pandemic with the Upright Citizens Brigade here in New York City, and completed that program. And just really, really fell in love with that medium, but have never, produced my own work. I have worked in the industry as well, more on the, the marketing side. So I worked in the TV industry for a few years at NBC and Oxygen, as well as a couple of other things. And so I've always been kind of in the orbit of making content. And part of my job is, I've been responsible for the past, let's see if I can do math on, zero sleep, the past 16 years, working full time, just overseeing social media and digital content, in various roles. And so, a lot of what I do day to day, it's managing the creation of mini films. It just happens to be, more documentary style as opposed to narrative, which, you know, it's scripted.
Oh,
Um,
how about you, Rob?
John, yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm an active member of Local 600 Cinematographers Union. I there part of the internet all burst in the 2000s. Um, I have my love for movies and films and TV shows, and I was like, let me just try it. Right. So it was hard work and a smile to get me through. And, I was a camera PA, ran coffee, cleaned cases, cleaned the truck, and started at a TV show called The Third Watch on NBC. And, it was either join the Air Force or do this third watch and join the union. And so joined the union and worked on Munich, Gossip Girl, Project Runway, Law and Order SVU, and the list keeps going. And so I just figured every time I moved up, just keep meeting people, just keep believing in what I do, and and then I got injured, and it was like, do I leave this business with everything that I built, all the friends, connections, and what I've learned? Do I just leave and go into this bubble of mentorship of being in the disabled community and not be challenged? And it was like, well, that's not me. um it was literally, let's figure this out, and let's make this work. And then you realize that you know your skills keep going, and you just meet more people that have that same drive, that same fight, that same challenge, and you get together and then you create. So this is, you know and the production meeting, I was like, I'm super happy to be here. And I know this is like, a traumatizing and tragic injury, but you know what, like there's such a great community out there, and and it's this camaraderie that we put together. And so this festival helps us get together and show us and showcase our creativity.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. Yeah, that's really cool that you still have the drive to keep with it, like get back into the industry, and you're able to successfully still work, like you said, on the Daily Show
Yeah.
with Jon Stewart, and still continued
Yeah,
the
I'm Emmy
success.
nominated. I'm an Emmy nominated operator. So that's, I forgot to
Oh,
say that.
congrats! That is super cool. Where is it? There we go. I got the. There we go. Okay, I gotta find my sound effect. No, that's really incredible. That's super cool. That's like, an Emmy nominated, like that means that you're definitely, like, not just average at your job. You've excelled in it, even with your disability. So that's incredible.
Correct. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then Mackenzie, what about you? What's your background like for that?
Yeah, in some ways I relate to you, John. I'm not an Emmy nominated anything, but I was not disabled my whole life. So I'm an actor. I've been an actor. I went to college for musical theater, dancer, singer, actor, did all of the stage stuff for years, and really started my career with that in mind. I had dance captain jobs. I had a small, but I'm proud of it, national tour, and um, it. I'm a member of Actors Equity Association, so really have been on the stage acting trajectory most of my adult life for sure. And I only started getting sick and coming to realize all of these chronic illnesses and disabilities throughout the pandemic. So in 2020 was when I started to first get autoimmune disorder symptoms. And as the years have gone on, um, more and more things have been added to the plate, as I rattled off in the beginning. And that really changed how I could approach my career especially as a dancer, but as a stage performer in general. Um, and I've always been interested in on camera work. That just wasn't my training. And so I've focused primarily on stage and whatnot. But this year in particular, my agent and I were talking about how to make my sort of package more enticing when she does submit me for film and television work. And I need to start somewhere. She was like, get some student films, get into some film festivals, go do some stuff, and then let's chat, let's create a reel for you. And I was like, well, I know a film festival for sure that I want to participate in, and that's kind of how I got involved. But yeah, I've always been interested in acting and performing in all sort of realms, but since becoming disabled, the community and approach to my craft has shifted, and I think I've found some really cool pockets of creativity and community along the way.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's really cool. Congrats on that too. That's just, yeah, being able to find kind of your niche and find your pockets of stuff. I know I've being out because I was in the LA area more. I definitely know a few of like our friends that are trying to make it as actors. You know, like Danny Gomez, Tobias Forrest. Like so, like Danny and Toby, I've known for a long time, and I know they really work hard to try to get their roles and do find their niches and stuff. And I just support all you guys. I really hope like I'd really love to see more of that on screen and shown like in Hollywood and stuff with more and more real representation. So I hope you can continue working in the industry and stuff. Getting some good in front of the camera jobs.
Yes.
And then one other thing I was going to ask you, Anna, for your films, do you take the films after the Easterseals Film Challenge? Do you enter them into other film challenges like short film festivals and stuff? You do? Okay, cool.
Yes. So we have had the incredible privilege with our film last year, Emergency Plan, of being showcased in some really great festivals. We were part of a few that are, Oscar qualifying. Those are considered kind of like the big prestigious ones for the shorts industry. Holly Shorts. We were also in the Heartland International Film Festival, which is like considered to be like the Midwest premiere that you really want if you make a film. We also had our film screened at a number of festivals in Europe. So it's really, kind of great to see the story go global. In Australia, there's another one. Shout out to Focus on Ability, great disability film festival too. So, I think, to me, it's all about like, we have these stories that are underrepresented, these messages that the world really needs to hear, and how to get them out to more people, both within our community, but also, when I put together projects, I look at like, how is someone who's not disabled at all, which is something funny for me to say because I don't have that experience in life. of being not disabled, but like how do we kind of, embrace and engage everyone so that then they can engage with our stories?
Right.
That's an interesting twist.
But yeah, I feel like that's the way you have to really is having allies. We can't just be completely everybody like only disabled people only. Like we have to have allies within the able-bodied community like that support and help and not only support but like things like this are appealing and interesting to them as well to watch. That does help it grow, get more expansion, and then more people with disabilities as well see it, and it helps. So. I feel like that's just the way to grow.
Mackenzie, I got a question for you. I think I heard you right when you said you were originally trained for more stage
Yep.
performance, and now you've transitioned to more of the film type of roles. What was that like? What kind of what was that like for you to do that bit of a transition like that?
I'm kind of at the beginning of that transition, and it's not for me. It's not going to be one or the other. Like I would love to continue to do both stage and camera work forever. I think they both have their time and place in my career. This is what I would hope, and I I did like a small student film years ago, and they only hired me to dance in it. And so that was my first sort of like kind of intro to melding my worlds, because I've just been such a stage performer, like, and just a stage performer for so long. Um, but now I think, especially since things have gone more hybrid with the pandemic, and then um, coming out, it still exists, but for film, but coming sort of years into this, theater and more theaters being broadcast to video, being able to see it on TV or in movie theaters, and there's just much more of a crossover, more of an overlap. And so I think for me, it's really fun, a good creative experience, to explore what do those mediums look like, how are they different, and how do they complement each other. And I don't think everything is good for both stage and film, but I do see that the audiences have some sort of a craving for some overlap, and so it would be it makes sense, I think, for someone like me, a musical theater performer, to learn the on camera stuff and sort of just roll with it, right? Because as an actor, jobs are few and far between, and if I have the experience of working on a set, then that's going to make me more competitive at the next audition.
That's very cool. Very cool. Um, I have a daughter that's she's doing more of the stage stuff right now. Well, she's in school right now for drama, for stage stuff. So
Yeah.
not my world, but I'm learning about it through her, and it's very, very interesting. So yeah, it's really
Yeah.
cool experiences.
Yeah, that's really cool. And John, I had one other question for you too. Just before I want to start talking about you guys' film, but real quick, I wanted to ask you. So now working, like, I just was curious at your current role on the Daily Show and stuff. Did they have to make any adaptations for you, or did you make any adaptations, modifications to things that you were doing, or was it you kind of just were able to do most of your job?
I do. I'm highly independent in this wheelchair. I move around. I'll ram things. I'll push things over. I don't care. I'm like I just need to get things done. But when we go to, like, for example, the midterms, and we went to Atlanta, and they wanted to shoot in a historical building, and once you hear historical,
Yeah.
nothing's ADA. Um, the Daily Show really showed up, and they got ramps for me. They made sure all the entrances. We did a scout. They were sending me pictures, and they were like, "Is this bathroom ADA?" And I'm like, "No, it has saloon doors in it, and it's 22 inches wide. There's no way." There's no way that I can get through that, and there's no way I'm gonna get smacked in the face with the saloon doors for this bathroom. So they ended up getting me a trailer lavatory with the ramp, and then I was like, "Can I get my own key so then I don't have to fight the crew to use the bathroom?" And they're like, "That's fine." And so I got the looks as if when I go to the trailer to use the trailer for myself, but hey, you know what? They were very accommodating and it worked out, and I was able to do my job and not really think of my basic needs. So shout out to the Daily Show. And it's just been like that. I mean, Saturday Night Live, same thing too. We were shooting uh, uh and we were masks and everything like that, and we were filming in warehouses and stuff like that. But locations really did their due diligence and showed me where like the bathrooms are and what they can do and how I get in and out. And then in terms of camera stuff, I pull focus, and so my hands and my cognitive is pretty fine, but and also my mouth of yelling at my assistants to get me things. But so it's like my if I do have to do anything physical, a lot of people step up and help out. But most of the time, I'm just delegating work if I have to. But operating, there's robots and wireless transmission stuff, remote control stuff, remote bots that people use. That's where we're kind of heading to with some of the cameras. But again, it's really hard to even break into that genre of like becoming like a RoboCam operator as an able body. So, um, being in this business and then doing my job and having that tenure, I feel very privileged to say, hey, you know what? I do my job and I do it well.
Hey, John, I want a RoboCam next year.
Copying you.
That's really cool. And yeah, hopefully, yeah, just keep excelling and really, I know we'll be rooting for you here to keep there. And now I'm gonna have to start paying more attention if when I watch Daily Show clips or anything for that camera focus.
Yeah, I'm the center camera. So if
Okay,
you're
so you're
seeing center punch, John Stewart or any of the that's me. And then if it blurs out, that's not me.
okay.
I was going to say, why is John always out of focus?
And then I'm in Orlando that day.
All right, good to know. Only the great shots were done by John. All right, guys, let's start talking about your film, Dark Into the Dark Ages. And for people that haven't seen it, if you guys haven't seen it, the link is down below in the description. You can check out their film directly. And then there also is just the Easterseals YouTube channel link, so you can watch all the 2026 entries if you guys want to go check them out. But yeah, so Into the Dark Ages. Anna, you want to kind of go through the base premise and then kind of maybe how you came up with your idea or thought, and we can kind of hear
Sure,
from all
yeah.
you.
Yeah, so Back to the Dark Ages is the story of two women, Christina, who is played by Mackenzie, And she's chronically ill. She lives with long COVID, which is one of the newest recognized disabilities by the ADA. And she accidentally summons someone named Wilhelmina the Philanderer, um, who is a medieval ghost. And her disability is that she is dead. So that's a disability too. She's dead. So she's a ghost. And she, is someone who, appears only to people who are lonely. And at first, and you have to watch the film. The film, go smash that link. Go watch it. It's only 5 minutes long. I'm not going to spoil too much, but, at first Christina, kind of protests. And then, they develop this really beautiful relationship and kind of are able to learn from each other. And, at the end of the day, it's really a story about friendship and community. And the way that I got the idea, I was like, what can I do? What can I possibly make that is going to be really, really hard to make? And is a topic that no one wants to talk about. And no one will want to see this movie. So, like, let's create a filmmaking challenge. Let's create a marketing challenge. Let's just like go all in on the word challenge. Because, we're about like, we're entering the 7th year of the pandemic. And it's so convenient because I can keep count with my Easterseals films. So I know exactly where we are. And I feel like even though like it's something that has impacted literally the whole world, like everyone in the world experienced this. And, the pandemic is still ongoing. So everyone in the world is still experiencing this. Um, but no one is talking about it anymore. People just, they want to brush public, especially now. Like, I think we're in the age where people are really like trying to throw public health down the well. And all to like our mutual detriment. So, for those who are not familiar with long COVID is what is considered to be any kind of combination of one or more of 200 symptoms that occur as a result of a COVID-19 infection. And it's something that started happening, before the vaccine. So for all my anti-vaxxers out there who's like, it's the Pfizer, no, it's not. There were people, getting sick with it, unfortunately, before the vaccines were ever publicly available. Um, and it's something that there is no known cure for. There are amazing scientists, amazing medical professionals who are coming up with advances, but the only way, similar to like, I think there are a lot of parallels to medieval times in the plague, which is what we see in this movie, but also things like HIV/AIDS. When HIV started, people also were calling that just a cold or the flu. They didn't know that it took like 10 years to develop into full-blown AIDS. And we're not even 10 years into this pandemic yet. So we don't even, know at this point what COVID, is truly capable of. And the only way to prevent long COVID is to avoid getting COVID, which is, easier said than done. But that's also, part of my inspiration was like I live, my life as a what's known as like a COVID conscious person. I prefer to call it COVID smart. Um, but like I still take a lot of the precautions that were commonplace early days. I mask whenever I go somewhere indoors. I, test if I'm like, gathering with people indoors. And by the way, like we had a lot of these, tools on set, like shout out to Aptitude Medical Systems. They hooked us up with their metrics testing system. So we actually had like a testing lab on set. So we could know for a fact that like, hey, everyone's good. And we all believe in the science. Like you can't get a virus that someone is not infected with. Like it's just, not physically possible. So, um, we had that going. We had high quality masks for everyone to use in places where that was more necessary. We shot in one location which was a mask required doctor's office, which is amazing in this day and age because so many medical professionals have let basic common sense infection control fall by the wayside. Um, But, doing all of this and, I only eat outdoors. I don't eat indoors in restaurants, even though I'm a foodie and absolutely love restaurants. Um, it is something that can be quite isolating. Even for me, like I have lots of friends, but like, what I love about this challenge is we're mostly working on pre-production January when it's announced through March. And that's when our outdoor dining in New York City is closed. And so it's like really hard for me to go out to places, and to like get together with people. So it's just a way to build community. And I think, disability in and of itself, I, some of the limits that people with disabilities face, particularly chronic illness and things like long COVID, it can be very isolating between people not understanding, but also just people kind of being people and like doing what they're doing, and then not being able to kind of participate in those same experiences, that others are having at the same time. So that kind of inspired the idea. And also, like, as a comedy writer, I thought it would be hilarious. It's just a separate idea of having someone from the Middle Ages, kind of experiencing this pandemic and like what their kind of perspective on that, as well as just like our everyday modern life would be.
Yeah, no, that was a really funny aspect of it. That was actually
Yeah, that was really creative. That was cool.
um, so. Where did you guys shoot the? You said the location was at the doctor's, but where are you guys, or where did you guys shoot? L.A. or you guys? Because John, because you guys had to travel, right? Somebody had to travel.
I'm from Jersey City, so I'm just right over the river.
Okay, so
But Anna, we were going through our locations, and weather was the biggest concern. And also, Anna was always telling me that shooting exteriors was her worst nightmare. So I made it a big part of like trying to make this as efficient to shoot outside, to make it work outside. And the places that she was picking, it was like I've shot there before. I know how and now shooting in a wheelchair and with people with disabilities, it's going to be um, a really interesting day on set. So, Anna did a great job. Locations, Anna put together a great team. So,
Yeah, so if you didn't catch that, New York City is where we
yeah, you guys.
where we are.
New York City. Thanks,
Okay.
Mackenzie.
Yeah, no, but for that beautiful outdoor exterior, Central Park, man,
That was Central Park.
that was Central Park.
Very cool.
And we are so fortunate here in New York that we have, these incredible locations that are just like here and available to us, because like, where else are you going to find a real medieval castle? Fun fact, Belvedere Castle inside Central Park actually is the same time period ish that Wilhelmina, the character in the film, is from. So that's why, I really wanted to shoot there.
That is really cool. Yeah.
Ish.
The one other question I had too, for like the process of everything on this for you guys. So Anna, do you have already like ideas for like do you already have like an idea for a topic? It's like, I mean, you're not going to get the genre until like the 5-day mark, but before that mark, are you already prepping stuff? Are you doing things like, are you getting your crew together and all that stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anyone who kind of, does, a production to this scale and says like they're not doing that is lying. Because there's a lot of, like John said, we had a great team. So there's a lot that goes into it. There's building a team. There's, location scouting. There's because we also had multiple locations. So, there's a shout out to Yuri Yamura, one of our producers, who's like our location producer and just did an incredible job getting us these places. And, so there's a lot of, planning that goes into making that 5 days. a reality. And you could skip a lot of the planning. And, like, probably we'll just make the 5 days harder. I'm just the type of person who likes to plan ahead, because then it just is smoother for everyone on set. And particularly because, like, for Easterseals Disability Film Challenge, this is an all volunteer project. So I want to make sure everyone who's coming to work on the set, has a really positive experience, because, they're not getting paid. So, like, it just is something that should be fun for everyone. And, like, chaos is usually not fun for anyone. Part of it too is we are a mostly disabled team. So the majority of us, do have varying disabilities. For example, like, you can't tell it by watching the film, but Mary, who plays Wilhelmina, also has a disability. She lives with epilepsy in real life. Um, so, but we also have, amazing allies. And so what we want to make sure is, like, when people who, especially if they don't have a lot of experience with the disability community, are coming on set, like, I want it to be like as professional a set as any other set they've ever been on, so that, what they come away with is they're able to be ambassadors for our community. So when people are hiring in paid productions, in, studios, John can go back to work and say, like, oh my God, I did this project and it ran, the same as, like, smoother probably, right, John, than, some of the other, sets I've worked. And I think, like, that's a really important endorsement, because at the end of the day, like, yes, this film challenge is incredibly fun. But the important part, in addition to getting out the stories, is getting people work. And that's another reason why Nick wanted to, create this platform, is, we want people to see people with disabilities as their next hire. So when someone, needs an actress with a chronic illness, or like maybe an actress who either walks with a cane or doesn't, or uses a wheelchair, like Mackenzie does at various points in the day, they think of her. And they're like, oh yeah, there's, someone, that'd be perfect for that role. And, they don't think it's just like because of the disability, but also because, like, she's a professional who can, like, 100% do that. Because it's, at the end of the day, about doing a job. And then, in terms of the process that kind of goes into it, so they give us the genre in January, but then they give us, like, just more of the details, like the props that we have to use, locations that need to be included, which, spoiler alert for anyone considering doing it, is always an apartment or a house every year is one of them. So, you're good. um, if you have one of those, hopefully you do. And the there's a lot of prep that goes into, like, okay, we have an idea, but how do we develop that idea? Kind of what I said before too. I like to do a writer's room. I like other people's input. Filmmaking is a team sport. And so, part of it is, like, okay, especially with comedy, because, like, people respond to comedy differently. Um, does this joke land in general? Does this joke land, with our people? Does this joke land, how will non-disabled people perceive this joke? And I'll give you an example, where, we were very meticulous about a certain joke that appears in the film. And I think, particularly for this audience, we're talking about, people who use wheelchairs. We have a character in the film. He's only on for a few seconds, but he was brilliant in those few seconds. Played by a great, friend and colleague of ours named Daytwan Cullens. And so he, just plays. He's good as a man in a wheelchair, and he is just going about his day, rolling, outside of Central Park, when Wilhelmina sees him, and it is the first time in her life that she has seen a powered wheelchair. And she's from hundreds of years ago, and way before the ADA, where way before, like, no one told her, how to be polite with people with disabilities. She's just coming into this world for the first time. And her reaction to him is that she thinks that he must live like a king because he has this technology. And that was very intentional on our part, because we didn't want that character to be someone she pitied. So it was very subversive being able to make him someone that she actually admired instead.
Yeah, no, that was funny actually.
That was neat. Yeah, that was very cool.
That was a nice joke. So I like that you guys had that in there. And yeah, it is living like a king back. You don't got to walk, right? That's the whole back in the day.
Why
Kids
else?
didn't. Uh,
Very fancy wheelbarrow he had.
Yeah.
and then, how many days of shooting did it take for you guys out of those 5 days? How many days were you guys actually shooting in those locations?
2.
2 days, 2 filming days. That's cool. Um, yeah, so that's it seems like because you guys had a few different locations, so that does seem like it would be everybody with disabilities. It's a little bit of a process to get everybody there set up in the areas and stuff in those
A lot of
two.
work in a very short time.
Yeah,
Do you know how many films are in the competition this year? Like I just looking at the website, there's a
144.
lot of. Sorry, what was that? I missed that.
It's 144. I think it's a record this year, actually.
144. Wow, that's incredible. That's pretty cool. Yeah, seeing. And were you involved or part of any others, like in helping or creating ideas, or just kind of back and forth sharing ideas?
I did like a very small 1 sentence voiceover line for a friend of mine, uh,
Okay.
but that's as much as I was involved in other projects.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
still sleeping.
Anna and I go back and forth, nitpicking everything. I challenge challenge her on like locations and like, is this like, are we gonna fit? Like all the logistics that goes involved in all the people moving and going from one location to the other location. Um, we don't have in terms of gear. I have a camera, steady cam, and just a couple little lights. So it's like packing my car and just really scrambling to get Uber drivers to get the crew from one location to the other location, set up, COVID test, lunch, which is a big part, and then and do it all in a timely manner. So
yeah, that's quite a production. Definitely.
That's
So,
a lot.
And what
Yeah.
I love with John, because I actually I'm not like really up on all the technical stuff. So I love that he just takes care of that. Because I'm all about story. I love story. I love working with actors. Like that's the kind of director I am.
yeah,
yeah, and then she's ordering the lunches together, and I'm asking her if she likes this two shot or not. And I'm like, I'll just line it up, and then
sorry, I froze a little bit for a second there, John.
We'll
Oh,
never
So
know the end of that story.
yeah, we'll never know.
I mean, but the lunch was good, right? So
oh, there you go. I think you're back now. Maybe.
I'm back. Okay.
There we go. Uh, but yeah, so that was part of the process. You guys, but you were shooting shots and ordering lunch or doing the 2 set.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like coming in as an actor, I had the easiest job of everybody. The crew is amazing in how it was just such a well-oiled machine, and I am so grateful that there was such a detailed schedule set up ahead of time.
Hmm.
Um, and like, yes, of course, there's some scrambling, and of course, we have to pivot and whatever, but there was such a clear time block, including getting lunch and whatnot, and making sure that we eat and stay hydrated. But with such a schedule, like even though there was a bit of a hustle and trying to get it all together, the crew really really knew what they were doing, and we just had to hit our marks. So my hats off to them. I don't know how other teams do it. We're so lucky that we have these connections with such talent.
How big a crew did you have altogether with I mean, all the other pieces, so many moving parts. How many people do you have involved to put this all together?
On set, like I think we were about like it varied by day and location. We keep the sets very tight, just because we also don't have space where we're shooting. So like we shot in my apartment, and I live in Manhattan. It's a studio, and there's only like so many people we could fit, along with the equipment and wheelchairs and all that. So 15, but there were other people who helped out behind the scenes, both producing, writing, editing. Shout out to Mare and Tris, who did
Shout
all of
out
our
to me,
post
man.
work. Yeah, they did all of our post work. So there's definitely, like it takes a village. And also that's part of accessibility too, because we take a lot of precautions on set to make it accessible to people who, especially with the story have long COVID. We had several team members who have long COVID. We have, people, like, I actually like have health conditions that like are a result of COVID infection, although I don't have like an official diagnosis. Like me and Mac, and technically, like according to like I guess the CDC, we also like are on the long COVID spectrum, even though we're not diagnosed. It's just important to like have those accessibility tools there, because at the end of the day, that's what they are. But that's still like there's people who still, for various reasons, can't do in person. Transportation might be difficult for them. So I love to have options for people who want to get involved, so that they can be involved, regardless of their disability, because what I'm really interested in is their abilities.
Oh, that's a great quote. And well said. Yeah, so that's really cool. And that's what that was going to be one of my other questions I had too. So it's 2 days of shooting, and then it basically just went into post and your editor and things. Did you also have like a final kind of like direct, like on the edit or anything, or do you go through any of that process with the editor, like while they're working, or how do you?
Yeah, again, it's a very collaborative process. Just feel so fortunate. I mean, Mare Stern, our lead editor, is incredible. And so, she was sending cuts, me and John were looking at them, kind of as they were rolling out scene by scene. I mean, it's a 5-day film challenge, so it's not anyone's ideal process by any stretch of the imagination. Um, but she was out there, burning the midnight oil, getting this cut, and just made it look so like she did such a professional job on it. And that's the goal, is like I really want to produce content that can go toe to toe with stuff that is being professionally made for the networks, for streamers, because I feel like our community deserves to be in that conversation and deserves to be like at that same level.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
also that that we can do it,
Yeah.
and that we can put out quality content. The fact that this is all volunteered work. We're still trying to do our today, and then I'll get a text. You have to check this out. Look at this shot. I'm like, okay, I'm just feeding the dog right now, but I'll get to it. And like you said, get on it, and then you go to sleep, and then you wake up the next morning, and there's this text chain and email chain, and you're like, whoa, this is a lot to like balance. But then at the same time, we there is a deadline. We are scrambling, and we get so close, and I constantly check in with Anna going, how do you feel? Are you okay with this? What else can we do? How can we pivot if we need to? Because setting up the whole production is one. Actually shooting it, where like my anxiety is, and like all my stress is, that's all happening, and then you're done with that, but then you still have to really finish the product and send it out. And you know what? We did it, Anna. Mackenzie, you rock. I mean, you brought the whole script to life, and that's what this, um, disability film challenge is, giving everybody that chance and that opportunity to shine with their skills, but also, I've never worked with, people with chronic disability, you know, um, that you could take yourself out of it and work this whole project together.
What was that last part? Sorry, it cut out. Or I think maybe froze again.
That's for part two of Aegis.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
I
we
guess my
missed the very
connection is
last.
bad.
Yeah, the last part of what you were saying. But I think you were complimenting me, so thank you.
Yeah, and I will
More
say, like,
compliments.
you had such an important job, Mackenzie, because like if I had to, step in front of the camera myself, like it would have been a problem. So
Oh my gosh. No, it was an honor, and just I just wanted to quickly add, like, bouncing off of some of the stuff that you guys were talking about, working on a set. It was my first set experience in this capacity, but because accommodations were taken into consideration before we even got there, that was something that I was able to. I think, John, you were talking about this with your job, of like, you just get to do your job instead of worry about your, like, well-being, and you're getting your basic needs met and all of that. And like, with a dynamic disability like mine, yes, I can walk, but I can't consistently walk all day without completely crashing, which is very similar to a lot of people with long COVID. And Anna was really quick to problem solve with me for like the day in the park. If we wanted this character to use a cane, okay, that's fine, but I cannot walk through Central Park all day, like a 10-hour shoot. There's no chance. And so finding ways, like, she lent me one of her scooters, and like, just the collaboration on access needs were they were collaborative, and it felt like a no-brainer once we were on set, of like, yeah, this is just how we're getting this done. And it allowed me to do what I was there to do, which was act. And even on our shoot day indoors in Anna's apartment, one of the scenes I had to lay down and get back up again for a bunch of different takes. And that seems very simple, but with a condition like POTS, which, when you have postural changes, your heart rate will go up at minimum 30 BPM. If you do that over and over and over again, you're going to pass out. And I'm so used to pushing through, or like trying to bite my tongue. I don't want to be difficult as an actor and whatever. But someone on set who I like barely talked to the entire time, but someone on the crew noticed, and they were like, "Hey, do you have POTS? We could take a break. Just ask for a break." And like, it's so ingrained in me to not ask. But in a setting like this with people who get it, like, someone on crew was like, "No, this is what we're here for. Let's take a break." Or like, "We already got you laying down. Let's just we have to do these lines again, but do it from you sitting up already. So when you stand up, you're not going to pass out." Like that, like, it's, to them, it's a no-brainer, because this is what we do here. We take care of each other. So that was really special for me to experience as someone with a chronic illness.
Wow.
Really cool.
That's
Yeah.
cool. But it's just relieving. It's accepting or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's all.
relieving. Yeah, that's a good word for it. Relieving is, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. That's what it's amazing about. Like, I feel like this festival and then like the cruise you guys are, putting together and doing, and it's just really cool. That's why one other reason why I do love this film festival, all these films, all you guys like that, take part in it and are just it's really really cool to me, really cool to see. And yeah, we're super happy to promote and things. I know I went by super fast. This hour's already
I
went
know.
by fast.
Yeah.
Paul, did you have a last like question or anything you want to wrap up with, and then I'll kind of we can start to wrap the show up if not. But
Well,
um,
I just think it's so cool that you're able to do this, and it's just awesome. Um, do you kind of go through and watch the competition after now that they're out? You see where everybody lands and what what other people have done?
I've definitely watched my friends' submissions. I've at least started with that.
yeah, that's what we started with, just kind of watching a lot of the friends, people we knew.
Yeah.
But is that something like Anna? Do you do that? You've been doing this for now the 7 years. Is that something that you'll typically do? Is watch maybe just your friends, or do you watch like a lot of the other ones to kind of see? I know it's like it is a film challenge, and I guess technically a competition, but I feel like for the most part everybody's in it together, unless people are doing some, you know, unfriendly things.
Well, we won't talk about them. So yes, I there's 144 entries, so I will be very honest. I have not watched all of them. There's a very important part that happens after the film is submitted, and that's the awareness campaign, which we are in now through Sunday, April 12th. And so our goal, is to, of course, get as many views as possible for our film, but also to elevate the whole film challenge. And I've been doing media advocacy for the disability community for way longer than I've been making films. So like I'm a big believer, in rising tides, lifting all boats. In that when anyone with a disability gets cast, when it's so great to like be cheering each other on, and really, creating this supportive community because, like, I'll just be real, like, the industry is less than supportive of us. So if we're not going to support each other, who will? Like we're all either going to break through together, or the industry is just going to continue doing what they're doing because, like, otherwise they have no incentive not to. So to answer your question, and I don't want anyone to get mad at me because I actually, it's funny, I've made so many friends from this challenge. Like it's been just so heartwarming and wonderful. Especially like starting doing it during the pandemic of like it's just, not going out as much, like it's harder to make new friends, but I just feel like I've been blessed to meet so many amazing people. Um, so shout out to all my friends, they know who they are, but I don't even always know until sometimes I'll see a random film that doesn't even have a lot of views, and I'm like, oh man, that's my girl Danielle, she's in that film. I didn't even know like she was going to do that project. So yeah, like I try to watch my friends, I try to watch some random ones, but eventually I do end up watching most of them. It's just wearing so many hats, like it's hard to find the time. And I also work full time. So look, I'm doing all this, but I'm also doing my day job.
You work full time on top of this. Wow.
Yeah, that is quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, very impressive, and that's a lot to have on your plate and to do. And I understand about 144 entries. I know they're only 5 minutes apiece, but that's a bit. Um, but all right, let's go ahead and I'm gonna do a quick thank of our sponsors, and then I'll make sure we can kind of promote, make sure everybody knows where to find you guys' video, and well, besides in the description below. But real quick, let me go ahead and thank our sponsors at the end of the show. We do appreciate our sponsors, Mobility Professionals and Urology Professionals. Mobility Professionals is a DME that's local to Southern California. But if you are anywhere in the Southern California area, from San Diego to Central California, they can help you out with a new wheelchair, standing frame, commode, anything like that. And then Urology Professionals is their sister company, and they're nationwide, so they can ship your catheter supplies directly to your doorstep anywhere in the country, including Hawaii and Alaska, if your insurance takes it. Because I know we have a viewer friend of the show from Alaska that uses them. So, great companies. We have friends that support the community locally and are also in chairs, so they know what we're dealing with. So we appreciate that. All right. So yeah, let's go ahead and promote you guys and the film a little bit more here right at the end. So make sure people that didn't hear me earlier, if you are watching, make sure the link is for their film is right below in the description. Just click on that, and also the Easterseals just YouTube channel link, so you can check out more of the videos if you do want to watch more. And then, is there anywhere else people can help support, follow, like, anything they can do, you guys?
Yeah, definitely. So please, watch the film. If it speaks to you, leave a comment. Go ahead and smash that like button on the film video. Send it around to, other people that, maybe just need a good laugh that day. I don't know. But yeah, send it to your friends, send it to your enemies. Just, the more people watching it, like that's what really helps us out. And send it to groups. We will be spamming the Daily Show YouTube in support of John. Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah. So
Just a
But
I
yeah,
quick
was
note,
reading a
the
comment
film
there.
so yeah, that was Leah. That was my one. She was just saying, yeah, we will probably start watching a lot more of those clips, and maybe drop some comments about the how amazing the videography is. But also, she said, great film. Looking forward to seeing it. Well, we already did watch it, but we'll probably watch it again a couple times.
yeah, I watched it
Uh,
all the time. Back to the Dark Ages is what you
But
want
you
to
heard her. Make sure to not only watch it, but if you do like it and you want to support, like it, click the like, share it with friends, share it with families, social media, any of that stuff, just to kind of get those views up, get the likes up, and help promote during this. Because the campaign ends, is it just through this weekend then for that first week?
It is, it is through the end of day Sunday to help us, in the film challenge, which ultimately, if we do well, that means the message goes further, and gets promoted more, which is really wonderful. But, also, I mean, like, this is just, so important to all of us that, regardless, we, hope people will watch it. We plan to enter into other festivals with it, and really just keep spreading the word and keep spreading awareness.
Awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
Anything else any of you guys want to mention, shout out? Anything is fine if you want to. Yeah, your personal Instagrams, anything. I actually did not create the links for those. I just had the little thing. So I'm gonna actually, after the show, make sure that I link in the Instagrams, not just have the names in there. So, I will do that
Yeah, I
right.
mean, you can find me with my full name, Mackenzie Morgan Gomez, pretty much anywhere. And that's MAK. There's no C in my name. My parents decided to be different.
Hey,
See you,
You can
Simon.
find me at John Floresca on Instagram and on Facebook.
okay, cool. And I will make sure Anna did send you guys his Instagram, so I'll make sure to add those in there, and so you can follow easily. And then yeah, check out Facebook and things as well. But thank you guys for coming on to share and talk about the film. We do appreciate you guys coming on, spending your time with us, and we hope we can promote it as well. And some of our viewers here are excited to watch it and check it out. So hopefully, we'll get you guys up at in the top of that promotion echelon there.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. This was fun.
Yeah, I know. It
Great.
was fun. It's always fun talking to you, Anna, and having you guys on. So I honestly love this challenge. Paul, you're going to say something? Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, it's just great to see you, Anna. It's been a while. So I was so excited when I got the email from you. All right, we get to do this again. This is cool.
Yeah, it's great to see you too. I mean, let's keep meeting like this.
Yeah.
Awesome. And yeah, we'd love to even have you guys on. I will maybe even reach out to you guys on Instagram to have you on personally, even in the future, to tell your stories and stuff. Because I know we've had on a few times for the film festival, but also it'd be nice to have you on do just other topics. We're trying to cover different disabilities, just highlight people within the community and stuff. So hopefully you will definitely be seeing everybody again. So if they want to come back. All right, you guys. Thank you again for watching, everybody. If you're not subscribed, click that subscribe, click that little bell for notifications, drop a comment, drop a like, help share the video, whatever helps promote the channel and help promote the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge as well. Thank you guys again for coming, and yeah, see you guys next week. Live to roll, everyone.
Roll, gang.